Hello and welcome back to the Minetrek.net game server. This will be an update for the Enterprise D build. Today is November 13th. Yay! It's been quite a while since the last actual video regarding the Enterprise D because a lot of us have been off server. I've been off on an average of 2 weeks per month, and the time that I have been home, I have not been on the server. Although there are a lot of updates and stuff to the Enterprise D that I have done over the last 4 months. I do believe the last video may or may not have dealt with changes to the Cobra head. Again, it's been a long time since I've done any update videos on the Enterprise D, so let's get right into it. We'll start here on the bridge because the latest changes include the stuff that I'm about to show you. Anyways, here's the Enterprise D's bridge. We'll go ahead and work our way up here. I reworked a little bit of this area here to give it a little bit cleaner look. As you can see, it is a lot nicer looking. Come down through here, and all of this has not changed at all, but it's just flows a little bit better because I went back through here and I completely reworked all of this area down through here. Just couldn't deal with the way it looked before, and I wanted to clean it up, so I came down through here and kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Again, this is sort of like a workspace or maintenance area coupled with a Jeffries tube. So all of this is pretty old, but it may have been covered in another video. Again, I'm not really sure. But I went through here and I cleaned all this up and did all this. Realigned these doors so that they're a lot cleaner now. And they actually, I believe they match on the other side as well. Did some work down through here and cleaned up all of this. But the major change, and to this section here, apart from just coming through and cleaning stuff up, is I wanted to have an access way from the forward section here down. In other words, there's no way to go from here down. So what I did is I revised the section here and I moved a turbolift up. And as you come down through, you can see it goes all the way down. Now again, this turbolift is not in either the Whitefire plans or the Sternbach plans, but it is now because we added it. And because I did that, I was able to add a gangway from this deck down to the next deck, which is sorely needed. And as you can see, it comes right on down to here. And from here, we can go on down into the main stairwell itself, which goes all the way down to the captain's yacht. So now, you can come off the bridge, and you can use one of 3 stairwells. You've got, well, actually, I guess it'd be more than 3. It'd be 5 total. So, let's go through here. You got this one and this one here. This one here goes to the outer section of deck 2B, I believe. Let's walk our way around here, check this out a little bit. Coming through here, like so. And around this way here, and there's the stairwell. Of course, here's this stairwell. Very cool. Like I said, I was able to extend this turbolift, which actually, let's go ahead and slow down here. It started right here. And I was able to pump it up to these 2 decks as well. So extend the turbolift, and which makes it a lot nicer because you figure if you're going to be in this area here, you're going to need access to that turbolift. And here's the bathroom. What was over here originally was like showers. Yeah, I couldn't wrap my head around that, so I figured those had to go. I needed a stairwell here, and I put the stairwell in. Of course, this is a conference room / auxiliary crew habitat in case this bridge module is jettisoned. Of course, if the bridge module is jettisoned, the chances of this thing ever being recovered are pretty low, but the bridge crew can, survive in here. And of course, for a short amount of time, there's not a lot of supplies and things like that, but in the event, there's an auxiliary control room right here, bridge module sort of a thing. This would not be used to fly the ship. So this is just for the bridge module itself, not in case the main bridge is damaged and this module is jettisoned, they can still control the modules somewhat. And of course, here's the captain's secondary ready room, which he could use, of course, and then there'd be like a bed or something in here because this will be the captain's auxiliary crew quarters. So why not? It's our ship, we can design it as we want. A nice observation lounge in here, and so forth. But yeah, this was a major redesign right here, and I'm pretty proud of it. And it was needed, and I'm glad that we did it. It was the last change I made, and I made it about 2 weeks ago. Go ahead and get the compass here. And yeah, that was kind of cool. I loved how that came out. Then down here on the engineering deck, did some work on it as well. Fly down through here. Okay. For a minute there I thought something odd happened. I hope none of these have been moved. These have to be, they're in the exact position they need to be for being placed back up into the ship, so hopefully they're not moved. If they're moved, I'd be like really bummed out, because that would truly suck, but it looks like they may have been moved. Not liking it. Hopefully they haven't been. I'll find out when I start work on reintegrating the updated Cobra head and stuff to the ship. Let's go ahead and go in through the starboard side here and work our way to main engineering. Go ahead and slow down. I'll show you what I did on here first, because you can see it on this side. Go ahead and get rid of the compass or the view. There are windows. Let's go ahead and come out here and you can see what I'm pointing at here. There are windows right over there. And technically there are windows here as well, but there are windows right here. And I wanted, at first, it was like, why are those there? They serve no purpose. There's no way to get to them. They're not even covered on either version of the Wi-Fi or the Sternbach plans. But there are windows there, so we have to have access to those windows. So what I did is I figured, well, yeah, how would that work? Well, it'd be sort of like an observation thing. So people would come in here, of course, you have the little work bee area there, and they would just come around the corner here, and they would just walk this way here. You know, there's the Jeffries tube entrance. And I'll leave that for now, I'll fix it later. But they'd come back here, and this would be, you know, it's like one of those little levers lane sort of a thing, you know, just Enterprise D, no reason for it, but it's here. And then, of course, then the turbolift, excuse me, the Jeffries tube. Gotta make sure I keep my compass on me. It's the bane of my existence, but I need it, so I gotta have it. Let's go ahead and go back to here. Let's try it this way. There we go. Alright. But, yeah, it comes back to this Jeffries tube. So, and beforehand, this Jeffries tube just went all the way up and connected with the Jeffries tube that's way up here. Let me show you here real quick. This one. And this one goes all the way around and goes up into main engineering. And again, I didn't see a need to extend this one down because, like I said, there's windows here, and there's no point in having to go through a Jeffries tube to get to these windows when we could just have a, you know, like a, just a, I guess you would call it a causeway sort of thing to this room right here. After that, you know, you go through back into the Jeffries tube, and if you come all the way up here, you can see that all of this has been reworked. So we have Jeffries tubes that go all the way up into the nacelle, and the nacelle is of course getting completely reworked, but for the most part this lower section of the nacelle has been reworked. These are couplers, or the locking mechanisms that hold the nacelle to the pylon. These things, when they retract, they're locking mechanisms, and when they retract, the nacelle itself can detach from the pylon. Let's go ahead and fly out here, and I'll show you because I have it actually above us. You can see if the ship had to separate, if the nacelle had to come off, it would come off. And this is kind of what you would see if the nacelle separated from the pylon. Go ahead and speed up here a little bit. It separates right along this plane here. So this right here, this whole section right here is a pressurized, I guess, locking mechanism for the nacelle. It ties it to the pylon itself. And what I did is I went through and I completely mocked this whole area up. So now we have a functioning airlock here. Yes, this airlock does function. There's the button for it. Of course, I have the damned compass. Yeah, just screw it. You know, just take my word for it, it works. You know, you can come on and push the button yourself if you want to see how it works. Let's go ahead and slow down here. You have your little EV suits here, and of course here's a turbolift. We'll get to that in a second. And then there's a gangway here and a gangway here. This gangway here goes up into the nacelle. These are airlocks. In case the nacelle is separated, of course, these things would be closed. And they're locking mechanisms. And nothing in the nacelle is done. So the only thing that we're keeping would be the framework around the nacelle and the locking mechanisms themselves. And I want to kind of detail to make them look kind of cool. So hopefully none of these get deleted. If they get deleted, I have backups, but if they get deleted, I'm kind of bummed out because I put a lot of work into this nacelle area. And I'm not really sure if any of this stuff forward of us is going to be kept, although I do have it tied in. This turbolift here probably be removed. I don't know yet how this nacelle is going to get laid out because all of these coils are going to get removed and reworked. But in the event that this here stays here, this will be a Jeffries tube / corridor-esque sort of a thing. And here's a turbolift. But if you have to, you can go down through here. Again, this is a separation plane. And this is an airlock mocker. Back in here, and these are the interlocks or the locking mechanism silos that basically keeps the nacelle latched to the pylon itself. And then this will be like, you know, a little room, like probably batteries or whatnot. You step up in here and you've got this area here and this hole in the floor for no apparent reason. It's just there. Come back through here and you can see where these power couplings are, and then of course back to the airlock where the airlock is. And in the event, and this will be like a little storage room and things like that. And then you come down through here and basically it just walks you back down through here. Got a little airlock system room. Got this room here. And that's it. You know, just kind of there. And then you just go back down through here again. And then this here goes all the way down into the ship proper. All the way down into the ship proper. But beforehand, this was kind of like a zigzag all the way up and came out over by the turbolift, and it just, I don't know, I just didn't like the way it looked. It didn't seem practical, and you know, it just seemed a little bit over the top for what we needed. So I went ahead and cleaned it all up, and you know, all through here is going to be supports. Not, you know, there's no reason to have stairs and stuff like that, but this is just one big, huge support, and it'll have superstructure and all that to it eventually. And then of course this here comes around, there's the turbolift, and the turbolift goes all the way up, of course, and then you come through here, it just goes all the way up through here like so, back into here, back to where we were at originally, and then back up this way. Now you can from here come around this way here and of course enter the turbolift, and or here's the conduit that comes in from the warp core. Walk around it, and here's another interlock or nacelle locking latch assembly. Go ahead and make sure I have the compass, and we'll spin on out here and then go back into the ship proper. Work our way towards main engineering. This of course is deck 36. Alright, there we go. Let's go around, go ahead and speed up a little bit here. I gotta remember how to get there. It's been a while. I know we can get to main engineering from here, obviously, but you know what? I don't want to go that way because that's the fast way to get to main engineering. We'll just go this way. See? Fast way. Come along the corridor here, and then we can zip up this way here, and then this way, and then we'll go down this way, and back to slow again. And we come back into main engineering. Here's the main engineering. Again, if you go to the actual Enterprise D set, main engineering is just really small. It is just because they build it on a sound stage, and they were using older sets from the movie Enterprise and Star Trek 1 and 2, and so the sets were just the studio or the stage that they were on was very small. And they had to fit these in there, and they're sort of an afterthought, and you know, so if you watch the show, you'd know that main engineering is just like this little closet area that they attached off of a corridor, which at any point they could just slide a piece of furniture in front of, and it would serve as like another little section of the ship. It's just, you know, that's how stages are built, to be multi-purposable. But when we actually built out the ship ourselves and designed this area here, we realized we had a lot more room to play with. So we designed this area around the space we had, and of course that means it's a lot bigger than you see in the show. Here is the warp core, and what I did is I worked on the upper section, and I realized that this is not accurate. I put this in here just because I wanted to be equal. I wanted a parity between the two sides, but I do realize that in the actual engine room of the Enterprise, this is an elevator. It's not a ladder. So I understand that, but we don't have elevators, so deal with it. But I roofed it. I roofed this room here, and the reason I did that is on Star Trek Online, they built an engineering room for one of their featured episodes, and I went around it and I kind of took screen caps of it and realized that we had a couple of things wrong. And they have a little bit more detail, obviously. They have better artists and things like that than I am. So I realized, oh wow, this was just, I had this going all the way up, and it doesn't. It goes up to this room right here, and then that's it. And as far as above this area, that's anybody's guess, So we have complete and utter say at what's above us. And believe you me, I've been working on the upper area as well. But also down here, I put a floor in as well, because it has a floor. And now we have this big open space here. And again, it's really up to us how we want to design these areas. Now I've been playing with a redesign for this area here, making it much smaller, much more compact, with an area around it, much like this. And I don't know if I'll keep this design or not. I mean, it's working, it's functional, and I figure, well, why not? Because I was able to do all this with it. Again, a little work area around it, kind of like a Jeffries tube area around it, but not really a Jeffries tube. It's just sort of a space around the warp core. And yeah, you realize if something happened and this thing starts leaking radiation, you don't want it just spilling into the ship. You want a little buffer room around it. So that's my logic behind it, and I'm sticking to it. And come up here, and you can see it's again all this through here. And another thing I should point out too about the Ed Whitefire and the Sternbach plans, they make absolutely, what the hell is that for? Get rid of that. Anyways, they make absolutely, damn, people are just tearing my shit up. They don't make any plans whatsoever for gangways. And I gotta remember which keys do what on this game. It's been a while since I played it. They don't make any room whatsoever for gangways. There's like one or two gangways on the Sternbach plans, and maybe on the Whitefire plans there's a couple, but they don't go throughout the ship. And one of the design things that we wanted to incorporate with our build, we wanted access. We wanted gangways to every deck of the ship. We also wanted, like first aid stations and security stations on every deck of the ship, and multiple sections of the larger parts of the ship. And we wanted turbolifts that functioned, that had a purpose for where they needed to be and stuff. So that facilitated a lot of design changes and such that aren't in the Sternbach plans, that aren't in the Whitefire plans. Like all of this through here, some of this is in the Sternbach plans. The big tanks and stuff like that are in the Whitefire plans, but they're not, I guess, they are in the Sternbach plans, but they're not as big. But we had to design all of this and lay it all out. We wanted a conduit, or I guess, behind the warp core, because the warp core is right there. We needed a way to move power apart from the warp core throughout the ship. So like a power distribution trunk. And that's what this is. It goes all the way up to the saucer, and all the way to the top of the saucer, and then all the way to here, and all the way down to the bottom of the drive section. So all of this detail and stuff is original. I mean, it's our plan. It's basically my plan, because I'm the guy that laid out all the deck plans. But I did it in tandem. I'd do things. I design areas, things like that, and I'd get M's opinion on them. And in 99.9% of the time, she liked it, and she's like, "Yeah, let's do this." And a couple areas that she herself decided that needed some changing, and those areas, are changes that she made to the original design that I laid out. And again, that's why this thing's such a cooperative cooperative build is because our design allowed for multiple styles and changes to be implemented. Like the entire area around deck 36 and 37 on the drive section, those windows and stuff, I had no idea what those were. And again, they're not well laid out in the plans, but M. Heller had an idea, and that's why they're in. So, but things like this crossway here, this is mine. This allows us to gain access to the stairwell that takes you down into the drive section. And this is the just above the neck of the ship, or just below the neck of the ship. And of course, this whole section here, again, if you look in here, you can see the big ass tank, the deuterium tank for the drive hall, and all this rooms and stuff like that in details. But we have, stairwells that allow you to move between the levels of the ship, so you can go from literally from the bridge to the lowest deck of the ship by simply using stairwells. You can go from the bridge all the way to the lowest deck of the ship simply by using Jeffries tubes, ladders, and crawl spaces, or turbolifts. And it's that detail that you don't see in a lot of builds, or technically you've never seen before, because this is the actual first truly completed Enterprise D. And we're standing in the lower magazine of the primary torpedo launcher right now. So come up here, and this is the torpedo bay itself. And this is a very, in both the Wi-Fi and the Sternbach plans, this was a very small room. A very small room. Well, now it's a very functional room because you have massive torpedo storage, which a ship like this would, it's Galaxy class, it's going to need a lot of torpedo storage. So it does, it has it. It has it in here, and it has it above us, and it has it below us as well. So, of course, I like to call this area up here torpedo maintenance and probe storage, but but it has it. And then, of course, you have the huge aft torpedo bay as well. And it's this kind of detail, this kind of reworking, this kind of thinking that allows us to explore and design plans that are unique to, our style building. And who's to say that this isn't right? This is, of course, our vision of the Enterprise D had it not been destroyed. Had Troy and Riker not ruined the Enterprise. So, it's functional, it works, and it meets all of our requirements. Stairwells to every deck, Jeffries tubes on every deck, and again, the Sternbach plans and the Wi-Fi plans, as great as they are, didn't account for all of this detail. There are very few Jeffries tubes in those plans. So we like to think of ourselves as being pioneers, and who's to say that we're not? Starships have to have Jeffries tubes. We've seen them in the show, but they're not in the plans, but they are in ours. Our hangar bays are much larger than you would see in a show because, again, the show is based off of a soundstage. It wasn't actually, the ship was never built. It's a soundstage. It's square rooms inside of a square building, and you come up to like an MSDS like this, and you see where things are laid out. For the most part, we tried to stay true to this right here, and in doing so, that's only a cross section. But, we have all those decks had to be filled, and what were they filled with? Well, airlocks, ship systems, all kinds of neat stuff. It's, I kind of say it, this is a 2-year project now. We're going on 2 years with this build, and I am extremely proud of this ship. This is probably one of the funnest builds I've ever been involved with, and it's been hell. I mean, we had a restart, and then we ran into all kinds of back end issues, and now there's revisions. The revisions have been done, and it's stalled. The project is stalled because we're waiting on Aztecing, and unfortunately the Aztec pattern is a little bit off, and it's going to take some creativity to address that issue. But as you can see, the ship, as it chunk loads, you can see it's fully explorable. I mean, it's completely laid in there. And Blue Foes has been doing some really cool stuff. Check the Discord chat if you want to check that. I think there's a link to it in the description. And go in there and check the Discord, what he's doing on that. He's basically building or writing a book about the building of this, and it's kind of cool. Hopefully he'll get it done, or like a technical manual sort of a thing. And why are these missing? What the hell? What's going on here? I don't get it. I don't know. People playing with stuff. Don't break my ship. But that's the kind of stuff I have to go back through and double check on everything. So make sure things aren't tweaked incorrectly. But hopefully Im can finish this up because I really can't do anything else with the ship until this section here is done. Then I have to. It has to be flipped. It has to be completed. So I have to complete this section of the whole ship, and then put it back into the saucer after mirroring it to this, and then of course I got to go through and I got to clean up, and remarriage it to this part of the ship and replace all of the interlocks or rebuild all the interlocks, and that's a long process. That took quite a long time to initially do because you're looking at what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 interlocks. That's 18 interlocks, and each one of them is a different different spacing, different positions, and these ones are actually pretty easy, but it's these ones and these through here that are real bitches. But anyways, I do appreciate you taking time to watch. Again, this is the Minetrek.net game server, and this has been an update for the Enterprise D build. If you'd hit that like button for me, it would be appreciated. If you'd like us on Facebook, feel free to like us there as well. And if you'd like to donate to the server, links in the description below. I appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day now. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.